All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. This one is on college versus entrepreneurship. Such a popular, common subject to hit, but honestly, dude, I'm 20 years old. I didn't go to college, and not only that, but I actually didn't even really properly finish high school. And that's not necessarily much of a flex. I think for a lot of people, that would be like a really bad place to start, and I understand that. I'm not saying it's the way to go, but here's really the point of this video is going to be a scientist. Okay, but before I get into any details, I want to tell you my story, really why I got into entrepreneurship. I was 17 years old, and I was just starting entrepreneurship. I got into wedding photography. I was making like $1,500, maybe $2,000 a month in wedding photography. My family went through a house fire, which actually kind of forced me to kind of step up, kind of be my own man. My mom and dad were pretty much off the radar for like 8 or 9 months even, really. They didn't have the time to devote to the family, and also the finances of it was really rough. And so I was kind of forced really kind of to step up and try and just kind of be a man. And I don't think I really had to, but I really felt the need to. And I looking back, I know generally the numbers that my family was experiencing, and I'm glad I stepped up, but I don't think I had to. But I just felt the need to. I needed to do something. And so I lost all my camera gear. I refunded like 10, 15 grand worth of weddings at the time, which hit me really hard. But then I figured the best thing I could do is start to play around online, see what I can do with that. So I started doing marketing services for wedding photographers because I grew my photography business pretty quick. Then realized that marketing services in general is a great niche to go into, which is when I realized that, I was doing SMMA or running an agency without really even realizing it. And at which point I decided, all right, that's the thing I want to do. That's how I want to proceed, is by doing marketing services for existing businesses. And ever since, my life has never really been different. That's what got me started. That's what started me off. I definitely knew I was going to do my own thing, from the start. When I was 13, 14 years old, I just knew that the normal way of life just wasn't for me. I just see all these people going through the normal day-to-day. And if you don't know me, by the way, my name's Trey. I have a business that produces me 30 to 40 grand a month in profit online right now at 20 years old. And it's a total blessing, and I love it, and it's changed my life completely. But I just want to talk very openly, very candidly about college versus entrepreneurship, or really specifically versus starting an agency. And because that's the model that I really think is the best. I think it's the best model to get into if you're wanting to just start off as an entrepreneur, because it forces you to get good with people. It forces you to learn digital marketing, which is an amazing skill. It gets you better with sales, knowing your numbers. It forces you to be an actual business owner, and not just somebody who's playing around online and just making a little money here and there. So that being said, let's talk about the benefits of college first. I want to give some credence to college and what it offers. One of the biggest things is massively valuable connections. You get great people. There's professors and there's business leaders that you'll meet there that you just won't meet anywhere else. And I think, won't meet anywhere else, but it'll be much easier to get access to them there than it will be trying to do it on your own in the real world. Because you could just pay for it and it's given to you, as opposed to having to go out and, build your reputation. So it's a big thing. I think, having a degree can help you get a lot of different jobs and help you navigate that. But also at the same time, a lot of companies really aren't hiring based off of degrees anymore. They're hiring based off of a lot of other variables that really just have more to do with the person than it does the degree. And we're seeing this be more and more of a commonality in the market on a day-to-day basis. We're just getting closer and closer to people being hired for who they are and what they believe, and then being trained versus, what their technical skill is, and then, what they believe and who they are kind of being second to that. Which is actually how I operate my company right now. Koa Media is the name of my social media sort of marketing agency. I'm actually making a day in the life video right now where I show you some of the work that I'm doing for clients. We had a team meeting today. I had my 3 team members on board: my copywriter, my ads guy, and my general assistant who does some prospecting for us. And really what I hired them because of who they are. Like my assistant is he's going to be an Olympic fencer. My Facebook ads guy, we like vibe on a very personal level because of our belief system. And he's also a great Facebook ads guy, which is equally as important to me. And then my copywriter, he was actually homeschooled as well, which gives us like a lot of common ground. So we just could like vibe and hang out and just like play video games if we wanted to. But that being said, I want to get back on topic. Benefits of college: connections, degree, stability, predictability, an environment for you to grow, an environment of stimulus, and that's really good. That's all really good things. Is it worth the money, though? Is my biggest question. Is it worth the debt? Is my biggest question. Is it worth the time spent? And if we just look at the statistics, like the common statistic is people who go to college generally make more than people who don't. But that's the thing. Sorry, we got Slack notifications coming through here. General average stats do not apply to the average person. That's the thing. Averages are such a stupid way of looking at a decision. Like, you have to know your situation. You have to know who you are. You are not, the mix of your culture. You have to be something internally. And I knew this. I've always known that I am something internally that just it just goes counterculture completely. The fact that recently, just a few days ago, I got paid like $5,000 just to have a handful of calls with a new client. It's not just about money, obviously, but if you're saying that college is the only way to make money, gosh, you are so incredibly wrong. So those are some of the pros of college, though. Great environment, great option if you got great grades in school and you want to continue your academic career. There's some connections, there's some fields of study that college is still the best in, but I just don't think entrepreneurship and business is at this stage the best place to go, or at this stage college is the best place to go. Maybe for some other things, maybe like if you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, or if you wanted to do any of these high paying fields. I also think trade school is an amazing idea. There's so many plumbers that are making like 6 figures in income because nobody's willing to do trade schools. So that's some of the pros of college. Cons of college. Let's get into the cons of college. High price. Debt for a long time unless you can afford it. High stress when it comes to the finances if you can't afford it. My girlfriend actually right now, I was able to talk to her very cordially. I talked her out of it, but she was going to college and she applied for loans, applied for all these things, and applied for all these scholarships, and just the stress of it. And it's just, I don't like what it does to somebody's psyche for somebody to have a dream, a very defined dream that is up to somebody else whether they can achieve it or not. And then the other person just looks at a piece of paper, decides yes or no. And then the problem with that is that people take that and that's their identity now. They're like, I didn't make it to this college, so therefore I'm not valuable. I'm not able to do, whatever. That's just such a stupid way of thinking. College doesn't give you anything other than a piece of paper at the end of the day. That piece of paper can come with a lot of confidence. It can come with a lot of knowledge now in your head. It can come with a lot of skills that you can bring to the market. But ultimately, none of that eternally really even matters. There's nothing man can give you. Okay, there's nothing other people can give you. Everything comes ultimately from you and you. It's all internal, right? But that's just a bit of a rant. That might go off on a bit of a tangent there. Running an agency, though, starting a business, you learn immediately. When you're trying to sell something, you're trying to go to the market, you're trying to sell a service, sell a product, whatever it is, you're learning in the moment, you're learning immediately. And you're learning things that are actually practical and applicable, not just things that are theory. You're learning based off of experience. Your market is telling you how to behave. Your clients are telling you how to behave. You're being forced to grow and mature as a person. The kinds of things that used to stress me out now don't stress me out at all. The kinds of things that used to scare me now don't scare me at all. My problems are so much bigger now. My fears are so much bigger now. The risk is so much bigger now. The stress is so much bigger now. Yet I can still grow in it, and that's the beauty of it. That's the real world. The real world is realizing that, you owe freaking $60,000 without really realizing it because you stacked up some interest on some stupid loan or something, and then you have to figure out how to pay it. That's the real world. The real world is, and I experienced this just a couple of days ago, a client asking for a $5,000 refund, and me having to hop on a meeting just button my t-shirt, own it, talk it through with them. Luckily, I didn't have to do it. No big deal. Hopped back on, continued working with them. They're still very happy with the service. There was just a lot of miscommunication. Fixed it. We're continuing forward just fine. The real world is not what you're being given information-wise at a college. The real world is dealing with clients face-to-face. The real world is building a team. The real world is delivering a service. And so my only fear for somebody that is going to college is that they're going to think the world is something that it's actually not. And I know so many kids who have like high-end business or marketing degrees or whatever, who then get into the real world and it's just so not the same. It's just not the same. It's a little bubble. You know, they live in their own little bubble. And I'm not hating on it. I'm not saying it's a bad bubble to be in, but there are two sides to the sort of economic world, you know. Now you've got governments bailing out colleges and providing so much tax incentive that really colleges are becoming less and less incentivized to actually get results for their students, you know. And then you look at like education products online, like my course, my education business. Goodness, dude, the amount of work we've put into helping people start and grow businesses, like I don't know that many colleges that sell a couple $1,000 little package and then see a student go on to build a business that makes them hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I just don't see that. Okay, yet I've done that. Not only have I done that, but other people who have educated online have done that, okay? And when you're starting your own business, you're forced to seek educational material. You're like, all right, I just made $6,000 for my business. Why not put 2 of it back into a really nice little information product or a coach or somebody that can help me move forward or a mastermind or something like that? That is such a solid investment. I've spent like 30, maybe 40 grand of my own dollars on self-education, courses, coaches, all that. And it's all such important investments. You just won't be able to move forward without continuing to fill your head. So I honestly think I love learning more now that I'm not being graded or now that I'm not being like told what to learn. I'm learning because I know exactly what I need to learn, and I'm excited to learn it because the prospect of learning that thing is exciting to me because I know that it will solve a problem for me that will make my life better. And I know that now because I'm in the real world and I get to see how the world responds to what I know and how I behave. And the problem with the college is that you're getting fed information for 4, 5, 6 years. By the time you're out, you have information, but the information exists in like a void, a dead space that never gets used. It's just sitting there. You don't know how to use the information yet. So it's almost like being told how it's like there's this sort of parable that I've heard before that I really like, and it's the story of this girl named Rosie who's in this blank, empty room. This is her existence. She doesn't have to eat. She doesn't have to get light or anything. She's just in this blank, empty room, and all there is in the room is infinite books and knowledge and pictures and text on a flower, a rose. She learns for literally hundreds of thousands of years on what a rose looks like, how it smells. She's reading this. She's getting information. She's getting people helping her. The only thing is she's never able to actually touch a rose. She never holds a rose. So the real question is, who learns more about roses? Who learns more? Someone who spends 5 or 6 minutes holding a rose, or someone who spends literally hundreds of thousands of years studying roses? Who learns more? And my consensus is obviously you want to do a bit of both, but if you're going to do one, hold the freaking rose. Hold the rose in your hand, feel it, smell it, see what it feels like. Hold it up to the sun, see how it shines. Like that is learning, right? That's the only real issue I have with the education system as it is it's the Rosie Parable. It's a bunch of kids who don't know any better paying tons of money once they get to college for information. And a lot of it is practical information. Tons of it is practical. Like there's some really good information there. Totally agree. But unused information is no more valuable than having no information in the first place. It's no less valuable, no more valuable. It's the same amount of value as having no information in the first place. Information unused is pointless. So by running a business, you are forced to learn, grow, mature, sharpen your skills, or you're dead. If you aren't learning and growing, you're dead. If you aren't constantly evolving, you're dead. if you aren't constantly getting better at sales, getting better with your product, making your service better, creating better client attraction, machines, getting more people on your calendar for sales calls, maybe in my example, like if you're not constantly filling your pipeline, going hard, keeping yourself mature, disciplined, stable, grounded, humble, rooted in your values and principles, you're dead. And there's no better environment for somebody to grow in my eyes than in a business environment. It forces you to grow. It forces you to keep your character. For me, honestly, the money is like, money's great. I want to make just tons of money, but reality is, like, I'm mostly here because it's challenging and I love the challenge and I want to grow. Like, my whole thing is, who will I be when I'm older? Like, how will people speak about me behind my back in secret? Not how will people speak about me publicly. What will people say behind my back in secret? What will they say? And I know that one of the best ways, now that I'm on the other side of starting a business, one of the best ways to grow is to start a business, because it forces you to have character, integrity, discipline. It's a crazy way to live, and it just forces you to grow. So that's my thoughts. College versus starting a business. Honestly, start a business. Like if you want my advice, forget college. There's very little value there these days. Start a business, be willing to be broke for 1, 2, 3 years, and go for it. Like, that's the thing, man. I would rather be broke for 4 years and study business on my own terms, play around online and see what clicks, than spend 4 years and spend tons of money learning information that I can't directly go back into the market and practice. That's what I'd rather do, and that's what I've done, and it's worked very well for me, and it's worked equally well for so many people that it's stupid. So that's my advice. Take it or leave it. Hopefully that was valuable for you. Hopefully that made sense. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below, leave a comment if you have any questions at all. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. If you're wanting to start your own agency, you can click the link in the description below to check out my free training. It's a 2.5-hour long, like a movie's length worth of training. I show you my clients, how we got the clients, what sorts of work we do for them, how much money we've made, how much money we make them, how to start your own agency, how to build your own team, how to get your first client, your second client, all the way up to your 100th client, how to scale. Incredibly valuable training. It's treycochran.com/SMMA training. Links in the description. Check that out. Or if you want to work with me one-on-one, which is significantly priced, but we could do that as well, click the link in the description, treycochran.com/coaching. Apply for a call, and we'll see if you're qualified to work with me one-on-one. Thanks once again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next video.